Good morning, boys and girls, and it is Thursday already. We are inching ever closer to midterm. Just today and tomorrow to go, and then we'll get a lovely week-long break, which will be great. I hope you got a chance to do the Zoom PE yesterday. I know not all of you are able to get onto it. Mummies and daddies are working, and sometimes internet can be tricky, so I understand if you can't do the Zoom PE. But just as long as you're doing some kind of exercise at home, because it's so important for you. It's just as important as your literacy and your maths and all of those other things. We've got to keep our bodies and our minds healthy, don't we? Now, later on today, I'll post a little bit of information on Grow and Love, just on our activity for this week. So keep an eye out on Class Story for that. But let's get started on our morning's work, and we'll begin with our date. And our date today is Thursday, the 11th of February, 2021. That's Thursday, the 11th of February, 2021. Let's look at our spellings then for today, our J sound. And of course, at this stage in the week, you should be saying them before me, shouldn't you? Jar, jelly, jeep, jail, gym, germ, giant, age, page, large, ledge, and bridge. And we've looked through all of our sounds in focus this week, so we'll skip on. Just take your time with this. It's proving a little bit tricky for some people. Just remember in part 3, once you put the G into the words, then circle the words that make a J sound. Okay? And in part 4 there, when you're finished, you will have found a hidden word. I'll tell you that it starts with with S, and it has 5 letters. All right? You can see the 5 spaces here. It starts with an S, so that will help you, and it will make a hidden word. So once you've filled in all your she is and what has, when you've coloured all of those boxes in, you'll be left with 5 letters which make a word beginning with S. Today, for our literacy, we are looking at homophones. And we've looked at homophones before. They are words that are spelt differently, and they have different meanings, but they sound exactly the same. And today the homophones that we are looking at are to, and, you've guessed it, to. Now, what is the difference between to, and to? Well, let's have a look. Now, the first two there at the top, the to, to, I kind of call it the normal to. It's just popped into a lot of sentences to do a lot of jobs. For example, I go to the shop. I want to see my friend. We are going to have dinner. So it's kind of the normal to that's used in a lot of sentences. But then you have the too. And the too, to confuse you even more, has 2 meanings. It can mean more than you need, or it can mean also. So let me use a sentence to explain each one of those to you. So more than you need. If you said, oh my goodness, I've eaten too much, or I have too much money in my purse, which never happens to me. So it's too can mean more than you need. I have too many sweets. Would you like some? And it can also mean also. I went to the park. My friend went too. My friend went also. So it's another way of saying also. She had a chocolate bar and I had one too. So 2 meanings for this one. It can mean more than you need when you've had too much, or it can mean also. I did something and you did it too. The final one then, TWO, with the silent W in the middle, means the number 2. So when you're asked to write the number 2 as a word, you would write TWO. O. So we've got our normal to for most sentences. We've got our TOO, which means more than enough or also. And we've got our TWO, which is the word for the number two. So let's look at our sentences for today. Now I'll just read through them quickly and I can say two in the blanks because you'll still not know which one I mean. It will be up to you to choose which two is appropriate for each sentence. So number 1, I went to the shops. Number 2, we will meet at 2 o'clock. 3, I ate too much cheese. Number 4, I want to go on holiday. Me too. Number 5, I would like 2 apples. Number 6, they went to the park. Number 7, would you like to come with us? Number 8, the work was too hard. Number 9, we are going to school. Number 10, the 2 boys are going to the park. So you have 2 different twos there. Number 11, the road was too busy to cross today. Number 12, it is 2 minutes to 7. Again, 2 different twos there for that question. Number 13, the 2 girls were going to the shops. And finally, the next train to Portadown leaves at 2 o'clock. All right. Moving on then to our maths, and we are continuing with our data handling, which I must say you are handling very well. The work you've been sending me has been brilliant and we've had very few mistakes. The odd little slip up here and there, but nothing really that serious. Now, today we are looking at pictograms and symbols which represent 2 units each. Now, this pictogram shows the numbers of children who prefer different neck styles of tops. So you'll see here this yellow one has like a square neck, and some children like to wear a top with that kind of neck. This one has a V-neck, that red one. This green one has a collar, and this blue one has a crew neck, which is a round neck at the top of the jumper. And we're going to look at which style is most popular with the children and which one is least. Now, we need to be careful because we're not using bars this time, but we are counting in twos. Each circle represents 2 children. And you can see the little key at the top which shows you that. All right, that the circle, every time you see a circle, that means 2 children. Whether the circle is blue or red or green or whatever, it represents 2 children. So how would you count 1 child then? What would represent 1 child? Half a circle. Half a circle would represent 1 child. So for this green top here, you've got 2 children, 2 children, and 1 more as well. Okay? Because if every circle represents 2, then half a circle must represent 1. All right, so let's look at our questions. Which neck style is most common? Now, for these first 2 questions, A and B, you can just write a colour to represent which neck style is most common. So you'll go over to your graph, and whichever one has the most children, you would write yellow or red, green or blue as your answer. And you look at the pictogram again for least common as well. Okay, so which style is most common? You write a colour of the most common style and least common as well. Question 2. How many children have these styles? So you're going to look at the yellow top with the square neck and all of the different tops and just count for each one how many children liked that style. So your answers for A, B, C and D are all going to be numbers. Numbers of children that you've counted on your pictogram. How many children are there altogether? That's question 3. Well, when you've found these 4 answers, you'll be able to add them up to find out how many children were in the pictogram altogether. Which style is twice as common as green, the green with the collar? So you have to see how many people had the green top with the collar, and who had double that amount, who had twice as much. Okay, so you're going to have to double this and see who had twice as much as this. For our second question then, the pictogram goes across the ways like this, but it still has the same meaning. A circle still means 2 children, and half a circle still means 1 child. And this time we're looking at styles of tops: plain, striped, checked, and a hooped top, which I assume means lines across it because that's what it has here. And it shows how many children preferred each type of top. All right. And it asks you how many tops are plain, striped, checked, and hooped. So again, we're writing a number for each answer. Which pattern is on half as many tops as the plain pattern? So you have to count up the plain answer, find half of that and see who has that number. So if the plain tops had 10 people wearing them, then you would be looking for somebody some top that has 5 people wearing them. But it doesn't, it has more than that. So count how many people had the plain top, find half of it, and then you'll find your answer. And finally, which pattern is on half as many tops as the striped pattern? So add up all who's wearing the striped pattern, that red and white one, divide it by 2, half it, and see who is wearing half as many as the striped pattern. Okay, so it's going to be something that's less than the striped pattern, isn't it? So boys and girls, that's your maths and literacy for today. Grow in Love will be coming up later today as well, as I said. And continue on as always with your AR, your accelerated reading, which many of you are, so well done, and with your SumDog as well. All right, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, which will be Friday. Hooray!